Isabella, are you the national winner of military?
That's pretty impressive to be located here, too.
What's your mom and dad do? When you get up there, you can tell us about all the things you had to do to qualify.
Don't put her on the spot.
Give us a little speech.
Oh, he's teasing you.
3 to 5. Tell your story.
Okay. You know how to work?
Hey, these are all
I know
swimmers,
how to
right?
work it.
I know.
Pat, bring your swim team.
Okay. Thank you.
Come to boss.
Come we got 30 seconds. Economic for the public hearing. So if nobody else is going to so did you talk? Okay, everyone, it's 6 o'clock, so I'd like to open the meeting and remind everybody to please turn your cell phones to silent or vibrate. And so we'll go ahead and proceed with the meeting tonight. It's going to be a very light agenda. So let's stand for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remove your covers. Lord, thank you for bringing us all together tonight, and thank you for the town you provided us. Thank you for our citizens and all the people that provide the services to this town. Thank you also for our veterans that are no longer with us that we celebrated yesterday at our Memorial Day celebration. Thank you so much for that. Without them, we wouldn't be here tonight. Thank you, and let us do your will tonight, and let us use your wisdom and your knowledge when we make our thoughts and decisions as we go through this meeting. In your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. The first section is public comment, where you would have 3 minutes to talk, but nobody signed up for that section tonight, so we can just move right on past that section. Did everybody have a chance to sign up that wanted to sign up on that first section? That's anything that pertains to the agenda. Okay, so now we're going to proceed to, since we have no public comment, we're going to proceed to the adoption of agenda and consent items. Do I have a motion on that? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, passes unanimous. So we're going to go to appointments, recognitions, and presentations. So we're going to recognize Isabella Smith, who's a junior at Swansboro High School, and she got Military Child of the Year, which is a very prestigious. So I'm going to read the proclamation honoring Isabella Smith, 2025 Military Child of the Year. Whereas Isabella Smith, a 17-year-old resident of Hubert and an exceptional junior at Swansboro High School, has been named the 2025 Operation Homefront Military Child of the Year of the United States Marine Corps. And whereas Isabella is the proud daughter of 2 United States Marine Corps veterans whose combined 42 years of service have inspired a deep sense of responsibility, patriotism, and community involvement in their daughter. And whereas Isabella has shown remarkable leadership, compassion, and academic excellence, dedicating herself to mentoring fellow students, especially those from military families, and helping them feel welcomed and supported. And whereas her accomplishments exemplify the strength, character, and service ethic that define our nation's military children and served as an inspiration to her peers and community alike. Whereas the town of Swansboro recognizes and celebrates Isabella's achievements, her dedication to service, and her role as a positive force within our schools and community. Now, therefore, I, William Justice, Mayor of the town of Swansboro, along with the Swansboro Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim May 27th, 2025 as Isabella Smith Day in the town of Swansboro, North Carolina, and encourage all citizens to join us in honoring Isabella for her outstanding contributions and exemplary character. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal to be of the town of Swansboro to be affixed the 27th day of May, 2025. So Isabella's going to tell us a little bit about what it entailed to get the award, and it's quite an achievement because it's for the whole United States, so thank you so much.
Yeah, so I was nominated in probably like October of last year by one of our teachers, Eric Matacola at Swansboro High School. I've been a military child, lucky enough to not have moved around a lot, and so I've been in Swansboro pretty much my whole life. And so really this award is just a reflection of Swansboro and all the opportunities specifically for military children. So I've gotten to do a lot through like the student-to-student program at our school, and I've gotten a lot of opportunities through our school. So it's really just a reflection of this town and what everyone's worked hard for. So, yeah.
So we need to, we can add humility to that as well. Okay, since we're still in the recognitions, I'd like to represent Representative Wyatt Gable. If you just stand and just recognize yourself, Wyatt's our state House representative in Raleigh, and he's down to attend the meeting. He's very engaged in Swansboro and very attentive to our needs, and so we really appreciate that, Representative Gable. He came down a week or so ago and took a tour of our waterfront and some of our roads and different sites around town, and he's showing a lot of engagement in our community and a lot of interest. So y'all are welcome after the meeting. Like I said, it's not going to be a real long meeting. We don't have a closed session tonight either. So Wyatt said he's available for any question and answer session that you all may want to have with him after the meeting. It still stands? You good? Okay. All right. Okay. With that being said, thank you so much, Isabella. She's the future of our town. Hopefully we can keep her around here. You never know, what the needs of this town may be in the future. So next we're going to move to Elisa. I'm sorry. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You went up there. So okay. All right. So yeah, the swimming pool committee is going to be presented by Matthew Prain, our pool committee chairman.
Thank you. What we think is relevant to bring to the table for our first discussion. So after a few months now of having the committee, we haven't really had a touch point with the commissioners. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over years and years worth of information and knowledge and planning that should be considered for the development of a pool, and then request that we get some feedback, some direction, some input from the town. So collectively, your Swansboro Swimming Pool Committee brings together well over 100 years of combined experience in the aquatic industry and or environment. Our backgrounds span competitive swimming, aquatic therapy, recreational programming, and the business side of operations, which does include management, programming, and even commercial engineering, designing, and construction of commercial pool facilities. So tonight I'll do my best to distill what is typically a years-long planning process into a clear and simplified overview. Okay, so what brought us here? What sparked this discussion that we're having tonight? What you don't see on this slide goes all the way back to 2008, the town of Swansboro's comprehensive plan, which identified a swimming pool as the #1 most desired amenity. That was based on a survey back in 2006 and 7, I believe the surveys went out, and then just like they did with our Parks and Recs master plan, they compiled all the information in that comprehensive plan of 2008. That comprehensive plan in 2008 actually had almost 50% of the town responding to those survey questions, which is quite remarkable. So what we're looking at here is our master plan for the town of Swansboro, which once again indicates, nearly 20 years later, we're almost at 2 decades since the previous comprehensive plan. A swimming pool is still one of the most desired amenities to be developed into the town based on the responses from the community members. Take a look at the list. A lot of those are kind of access to natural resources, with the exception of maybe playgrounds and some of those Parks and Recs features. If you look at what actually requires a facility to be developed, the swimming pool is still the #1 most requested, as indicated in our master plan. Okay, so this is where a lot of information is trying to be consolidated to one slide to save time. On the left-hand side, we're looking at what Total Aquatics Programming had developed for me back in 2021. All right, so these are numbers and figures that I have confirmed with the experts on the committee that are still within the ballpark of achievable despite being quoted and assessed nearly 4 years ago. Mick and Sue Nelson are they're the consulting firm, the consultants for USA Swimming, which is our nation's governing body for all aquatic sports. So if you talk to USA Swimming, they'll say, sure, if you're going to develop a pool, talk to Mick and Sue Nelson. They've been doing this for nearly 4 years. They can give you the national averages for associated costs. Their averages and their ballpark figures, because depending upon land, soil composition, all these other environmental factors, the prices will vary. So what they put together upon my request back in 2021 is a 3-pool facility, which based on the information they provided is kind of the recommended. That's the gold standard. So if you have warm water, that's for therapy and certain types of programs. If you're going to try to offer competitive swimming programs, you would want colder water. But the 3 biggest criteria is going to be your temperature, your access, and your depth. So knowing what programs you would like to offer, you then can develop and design the pool to meet the programming needs. So programming has to come before the design. You can't just have a vision of a pool and say, well, that's going to meet the needs of what we're trying to do. It doesn't work. All right, so in 2021, I developed this 3-pool facility with the help of our nation's experts, and it came to approximately $13 million. When I shared that and kind of socialized it with friends and community members. As you can imagine, I got laughed at. And I said, okay, well, we got to bring that down. So what can we do? I took a look at, what if we do a phased approach? An outdoor 8-lane programming style pool that can kind of meet a significant portion of what I believe the town is looking. Learn to swim programs, recreational type use, and programming, right? In an environment that is not offered. That pool design with all the state mandated shower facilities, changing facilities, control and access points, all those fixings and furnishings that would go along with a permanent pool facility, you're looking at just under $7.5. So that is one pool. Could be eventually incorporated into a dome like the Twin Rivers YMCA up in Newbern. They have an outdoor pool that they then extend the season the full year round, and that's where we have some of our high school competition for the swim. So again, more of a phased approach. $7.5 million, nearly cut the $13 million in half. Still got the same result. So I'm getting feedback on the substantial cost. It's going to be a determining factor, but that's not confirmed. So again, with the same feedback, what I then did is I gave myself a goal, and I presented this twice to see what kind of feedback I could get from this one. I've looked at a mega install. I've looked at, I would say, dozens of pools, and how can we start programs in Swansboro? So it's an American-made company based out of California. They've got Mega Instapool. They became very popular around the COVID era when some of these public municipal pools were shutting down. A lot of clubs and teams said we've got to have a solution. And this company out of California was providing teams and clubs a solution to a lack of access to pools. So what I've done here with this particular slide, it's a summary, it's a hypothetical, but those are estimates that I did get quotes back from companies. To simplify this discussion, I said, let's look at the 3-month summer time frame. I'm not going to talk about the specifics of different types of memberships, different price points. I just wanted to kind of give very broad touch points of what is within the realm of possibility. As we just celebrated Memorial Weekend here, Memorial Day weekend, this is traditionally the kickoff to the summer swimming season. This is when most pools across America open up their outdoor pool facilities, traditionally ending around Labor Day or when the students go back to school. That's why I just picked 3 months. Triangle Aquatic Center has a pool outdoor, completely open to the elements, not enclosed at all, although they do have enclosed pools. But this pool is outdoor and it's open year-round. There are teams and clubs and patrons swimming in that pool in January. So although I say this is a 3-month kind of, it's a 3-month look, there's no reason it has to be 3 months. This could be year-round outdoor facility. Okay, so the pool itself, and this is quoted right from the gentleman that I've been in touch with Mega Instapool. The pool includes the pumps, the filtrations, the skimmers, everything you see in that photo for $60,000. Significantly cheaper than some of those multi-million-dollar facilities. Concrete pad. This is an overestimate. Not what I would recommend for this style of pool. I would recommend putting it directly on sand. Concrete's very expensive. It doesn't need to be concrete. And if you have toddlers and children jumping in, I'd rather there be sand underneath that pool than a concrete slab. But again, I've overestimated on some of the most common associated costs with the development of this particular type of. In discussing the development of aquatics in Swansboro, the number one concern that appears to come out is the liability insurance. So I called up a couple of different insurance firms. They gave me an estimate of $10,000 annual. I left $10,000 in there, even though I just told you this is a 3-month model. I'm just keeping all the highest price points in there. They quoted me 3,500 workers' compensation if we're going to have lifeguards and supervisors. The staffing costs. So I'm looking at 1 supervisor, essentially 1 day manager for the facility, and I put a minimum of 6 lifeguards. Now, after presenting this twice, once to the committee and once to the Parks and Recs, first, I don't even like mentioning this, but in the state of North Carolina, there's no requirement for a lifeguard to be on duty at a public swimming pool. I think we would be doing a disservice to the entirety of our community if we didn't have those life-saving measures in place. So I've estimated 6 lifeguards. That way you can have a rotational basis. Some are on break, some are helping out with other responsibilities, while some are on the chair. This also provides the opportunity for lifeguards to be teaching those learn to swim lessons at various points throughout the day. So again, I don't want to talk about scheduling and staffing of a pool that we don't even have a plan for yet. I've overestimated, my opinion, and confirmation with some of the other committee members that have actually managed and planned these staffing objectives at pools, that it's an overestimate. All right, so where those numbers are coming from, if we have a supervisor at 70 hours a week, and that could be 2 people, 3 or 4 supervisors that are helping. Maybe there's a morning shift and an afternoon shift, but one of those per day, 70 hours a week, that's $1,225 a week. The lifeguards at $15 an hour, 6 of them on guard, you're looking at $6,300 a week. A total for 3 months, or in this case, it's 13 weeks, you're looking at $81,900 when you combine 1 supervisor and 6 lifeguards on duty. And so I couldn't really break down all of those red, associated costs, but that's where those are coming from. The pool maintenance, I received these quotes from the company. Chemical costs are negligible. Like it's almost not even worth talking about. Very simple to maintain. However, I know there's a CPO, there are some state required daily readings and everything else that we would have to adhere to. I put $1,500 per month times 3 months is $4,500. Heating costs between the month of June and August, I don't think are going to be very substantial, but I left it in there. $2,400, that's $800 a month. And then the electrical costs, if we run the heaters, again, I left that in there at $2,400 because that's what was provided by them. Okay, so the total year 1 cost, we're looking at $200,700. Those are not all the associated costs. There's so much more to determine, which will then change those estimates. Is this pool going to remain above ground? Then we need decking, we need ADA compliance. Consider maybe stairs on one side and a ramp on the other side. Is it going in the ground? Then we have to look at other types of amenities to offer. And that's why I'm saying, this is really just information to show you what is achievable, what those price points could be, but this is not a foolproof, hey, let's pick option A, B, or C. Tonight, what I wanted to do was show you that, the exciting part of this is this could be a sustainable business model for the town. This could be achieved without increasing taxpayer dollars. I'm not asking for anybody else to support it, but we do actually have to make sure we look at the programming side and build the appropriate pool to meet the needs of the community. So I've covered the cost, the revenue. If you've had a chance to look through it, you can see, I didn't go into individual memberships. I'm just saying 300 memberships at $250 for that summer pass. That's 3 months. That's actually cheaper than most, gym memberships. That's where you get the $75,000. Learn to swim opportunities, I'm actually saying at $10 a lesson, which is cheaper than the national average. This one's kind of exciting because I'm really excited to showcase how many kids in the town of Swansboro could potentially have access to Learn to Swim program. I was fixated, I guess, on the number 3. So if we did 3 hours every morning. And they're 30-minute swim lessons. If there are 4 students in a group, and with that pool, you can easily have 4 groups. You're looking at 16 kids being taught every 30 minutes, or 32 kids an hour, which is 96 kids per day. So 96 children learning to swim per day. There's 91 days in those 13 weeks. That's $87,360. Okay. Again, simple figures. Now, are they going to be the same 96 kids every single day for 13 weeks? Most likely not. If you look at the demographic data between Hubert and Swansboro, there's just over 6,000 children under the age of 19. A significant portion of that is elementary age school. So again, offering the right programs to the right demographic, you could potentially develop a sustainable business model without looking for any additional support. So more to follow on that. All right, but that's where this comes from. So again, keeping a simple 3-month, look at this. If you offer a couple of those additional events, I put in there like Swansboro's first ever swim meet. We can do 2 to 4 of those throughout the summer swim season. It'd be awesome. We could generate $15,000 just based on interest. Swansboro's first ever kid triathlon, very small footprint. You could do it with a pool. Be much safer to do than in the intercoastal. You need a small bike path. And if you've got a bike path, you've got a running. That would be an incredible event to develop in the town of Swansboro. And then I don't have in there, private parties, rentals, all those other things you could do with a facility like that. That would be other revenue generating types of opportunities. But again, keeping it at those 3 months and overestimating the cost that I have accounted for. You're looking at a year 1 potential deficit. Unless we extend the months or we go with sand instead of concrete, maybe it's a profit. Year 1, it could be profitable. Year 2, if we did operate at a deficit year 1, you're looking at $58,000. But ultimately, if all the variables remain the same, we get all the programs that we're trying to offer, we get all the memberships filled, you're looking at $77,160 every year operating as a sustainable business model. All right, so to conclude here, there's still several unknowns. There's many unknowns, which we must carefully consider before we can develop accurate cost estimates. Additional costs such as site-specific engineering, surveying, contracting, fencing, ADA compliance, as well as showers, bathrooms, other state-mandated requirements for public pools will all depend on the selection and the location and scope of this project. Is it going to be in the ground? Is it above ground? There's a lot more to discuss. So at this stage, estimating costs for key elements such as plumbing or infrastructure is premature without confirmed site and a clear understanding of the town's vision for this project. Moving forward, more accurate and detailed estimates can only be developed once these foundational decisions are made, and at this time, this represents the full scope of what the committee can provide until further direction and guidance are received from the board. So this really concludes what I have to present, with an understanding there are now more questions than I have probably provided you all answers with. But when time permits, the committee respectfully requests guidance, direction, vision. Does the town intend to do this? It's been in the comprehensive plan and the master plan. Does the town plan on not doing this? That would be valuable information to know as well. Or does the town have a plan for maybe somebody else to take on this project? And that's where I'm going to.
Anybody have any questions for Matt?
Other than just thanking him for his time and his effort these past 9-10 months, getting all this data together. And I agree with you 1,000% that the programming, we got to find out what we want this thing to do before we decide what we can actually build. And you're spot on, taking the right approach to everything. How can we as the board be more of assistance to you in the way forward So we can maybe, and reason I say this is 'cause right now, land use is about to go under, once again, the surveys about what people want to see in this town, how they want the land to be used, what services they look forward to, what they think we're lacking. We're pretty close, I think, almost certain, the board, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but $50,000 is about to be allocated to that service. And I think you would be a stakeholder in shaping that survey to find out, what the people want to see out of hey, is it a aquatic center? Is it a competition area pool? Is it designed for all ages? Everything from therapy, like you said, programming. And that would maybe help you define that and get that live feedback to today's population out there. Since we're going to program that anyway. So we definitely want to hear you and your board's inputs on that process.
Sure, absolutely.
Joe, go ahead.
How you doing, Matt? What's the, if all your stars align and everything went your way, what's your time frame on this, the first splash?
So the pool that I mentioned, the $60,000 above ground, that we can put in the ground, that can be a bit on backward, but that can be manufactured in 3 months. This pool could be ready to start offering learn to swim programs by next summer. But there needs to be a location. There's a lot that goes into that. Based on that location, what else is going to have to be either, considered for power requirements, plumbing, access to city water, and the list goes on. A more permanent solution, like a YMCA or a brick and mortar, which I didn't point out in slide 3. Like if you look at the fine details, the pool's not the expensive part of this project.
It's not.
So the pools are relatively, call it the inexpensive part. What I have heard through the consultants that I've been working with is like 18 months for a permanent year-round facility is like the bare, like that's the fastest you would see something.
I'm just
So-
wondering, the buildings, like the dressing and support areas, the administrative areas of the pool, all of that, you say can be done in that time frame as well?
That's
That's a lot of
I mean,
coordination,
the
brother.
check can be written, the location has already been identified, and all the permits, everything's approved, 18 months. But all those things that I just mentioned on the front end could take 6 months to a year as well. So,
I'm sure I have some more, but well, no, I'm going to ask one last question. What would you need from us to assist you in moving forward in securing grants and other financing?
I guess truthfully, like this isn't the first time the citizens have requested, insight into the development of a pool. I'd like to know that Swansboro has available land. And if not, then like that's the first detrimental requirement. There needs to be a location. Without a location, without a dedicated parcel of land that can actually support the development of this, there never will be.
Yeah, nobody's going to talk to you if you don't have that.
Right. So does the city have a location? Do they have land undeveloped behind facilities that I'm unaware of? Truthfully, I don't know. So the location would be the number one most critical. The second part is really the vision. What does the town want to see developed for the members of the community? I think the 3-pool facility, that's a gold standard. That's a world-class facility. Maybe with the surveys and refined data, we can determine whether or not that's sustainable. If it's not sustainable, I would not recommend it. So there's more information that needs to be figured out. Based on that information, I need a budget, because that budget will ultimately determine what type of facility can be developed. So location and budget are really the 2 most critical elements for the committee to do any further work.
Thank you, Matt.
Sir?
Demery, do you have questions?
I do. The Instapool that you had mentioned, I think at a previous meeting, you mentioned something about a 5-year buyback. What's the life expectancy of that pool?
So Mega Instapool guarantees their pools for 5 years. So 5 years for, you know, a 6-lane competitive programming pool at that budget, like, I can't find you a more cost-effective pool. They make smaller pools for elementary schools. You can pop them up, you know, in a gymnasium or in a parking lot and offer those types of things at schools. I think it's wonderful, the opportunity that they provide. I guess if you looked at a permanent facility, $950,000 to produce that pool, can you know, could you make payments that you know, don't even add up to $60,000? I think to get programs started in Swansboro, that's a quick, sustainable, that's a success to start programs by next summer if the town really wants to get on board with that.
Is there a hurricane rating on that pool?
A hurricane rating?
I heard you say it was made in California.
What? I can look into that, but I would imagine it would take a significant hurricane to move a 6-lane pool full of water. Now, granted, does a tree puncture that pool and damage it? Sure. Would there have to be some insurance? Absolutely. But the fact that it's American made and this company absolutely loves the idea of starting up aquatic programs out here. They're excited to see how interested the town of Swansboro is to get programs started. So they've been very easy to work with. They're the ones that told me there's a buyback of these pools because they will set these pools up for a weekend music festival. They'll set them up, you know, downtown Vegas. Whatever the venue calls for, they can access their used pool inventory with the expectation that after they get one more use out of it, maybe they'll never see it back. So they have their own buyback, which I think is awesome. Because then if we wanted to go multiple pools, or maybe we go a larger pool after we determine what the excitement is, it's essentially exchanging it in. So it is $60,000 for that particular pool with an understanding that there is a potential buyback.
Thank you.
Any more? Well, first of all, thank you for compiling everything, and I think a lot of this was precipitated by, we have a 2-time state champion in Trevor Hochul, so that would be a good place to start. I have just quite a few questions, but it might not be the time and place to ask them all because it might take too long. So, you know, one thing, first of all, you have to identify a piece of property. Do you have a piece of property identified? You know, we talked about location. I'm not trying to put you on the spot for that, but I'm just wondering where that piece of property would be, and what the initial investment of the town would be into the pool. Do we have a cost for that? How stable is the pool company that's putting the pool in? How long have they been in business? What's their success rate? Is it a competition-sized pool? So I'm rattling off a lot of questions that are rattling around in my mind. And to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of an above-ground pool if we were to do a pool. And would the in-ground be concrete versus a vinyl lining, or how would it work? You know, I've just got a lot of questions. Not trying to put you on the spot because I certainly appreciate what you're trying to do. So I'm just saying I'd be willing to meet with you, you know, and talk if you ever want to do that. I would like to, for my personal peace of mind, you know, because then I'm thinking about what's the hours of operation of the pool, what's the hours of operation of the classes you're going to have, how are you going to staff that, how it ties in with park. I've just got a ton of questions. You know, I'm not trying to be hard to get along with. I'm just trying to reason every aspect of it out. I've been in business before, so I'm looking at it kind of as a business model. Where did you get your numbers for the number of people that would be taking the classes, that kind of stuff. Not putting you on the spot at all. So kind of think about those things, and I'd be glad to talk with you on that.
I'd be happy to answer those questions when we have more time. Sir.
And I know I was rattling them off, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all, but
Not at all.
questions I
And
have
those-
in my mind.
Those are the questions that I've already received back from either Parks and Recs or from the committee members, and so I'm fully prepared to answer those, but we could be here.
Yeah, forever, and that's what I'm
all
getting.
night talking about
So maybe
this.
you and I could get together sometime, maybe after.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I see you canceled your next pool committee meeting scheduled for, what is it, 2 days from now?
Correct.
When's the best time for, I guess, could you throw up a time where we as the board can come in and ask more of these detailed questions and kind of meet with your
If we can reinstate
committee?
it for Thursday, then we can do it then.
Yeah, and have a
The
good
only reason I
Q&A?
canceled it is because I have nothing further to present or discuss until we have these discussions.
Okay.
So if we would now have to put together an off-cycle meeting, otherwise we'll wait and make sure that we do not cancel the meeting for the month.
I just think we can work with Lisa and the town manager, maybe come up with where you guys as a committee can come in and we can have like a workshop and stuff.
I think that
And
would be incredibly
brainstorm as well as
beneficial.
answer a lot of our concerns and maybe find a way forward.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have any further? And again, thank you so much. I'm not, please don't take all those questions wrong. I trust your opinion on things. And that's why, the only way things can happen is if we talk about them. Thank you so much, Matt.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, Elisa.
Due to a vacancy, there's an appointment opportunity available on the Historic Preservation Commission for an alternate seat. We do have 3 applications on file. However, one of them has informed me that they did not wish to have consideration further. That would be Mr. Perardi. So we have Tim Vinoy and Brad Phillips interested in the alternate seat for the Historic Board. And at this time, we are asking the board to consider an appointment.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I have a nomination.
Okay. Who would that be?
Brad Phillips.
So we have a motion to nominate Brad Phillips. Is there a second or any discussion on
Second.
that? Go ahead, second. Okay, let's go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
No, I just asked for that. I just asked for that. I did. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so Brad, you'll be, where is Brad? Is Brad here? Oh, there you are. Okay, you'll be nominated or appointed our alternate. Thank you so much for offering to do that. So, thank you, that's it, yep. So, we're gonna go to a public hearing, but let's have a 5-minute break. So, if you want to stay, Isabella, you're more than welcome. It's so exciting, I know, especially sitting on the front row. But let's take a 5-minute break, so it's 6:41, come back at 6:46 or so, and we'll resume. Okay? All right.
Okay, all the little minutes.
Isabella, thank you so much. No, thank you. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate. Our phone number is on the website. That card's out. And anything we can do. Okay. Let's go. All right, thank you.
Hey,
Where is he at? What? That? Okay, everybody, let's kind of resume the meeting here.
Yeah, what is on that? I,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in the center. I'm in the center of that road.
Okay, so everybody's back. So let's go move to the public hearing section of the meeting. And Mr. Mr. Barlow, our town manager, is going to present that to us.
Thank you, Mayor, Board of Commissioners, good evening. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider a proposal to extend an economic development incentive grant to Jones-Onslow Economic Development, or JOED. In North Carolina, cities, towns, and counties are permitted to appropriate public funds for economic development purposes. And part of that general statute is that we conduct a public hearing, so that is the primary purpose of this item tonight. Specific to our proposal, the town of Swansboro and Onslow County propose to appropriate $250,000 each to JOED as required local match receipt of a North Carolina Industrial Development Grant in the amount of $1,813,500. The primary purpose of the grant, if we do receive it, is to make site improvements at the property we commonly refer to as Project Coffee, located at the intersection of Highway 24 and Belgrade-Swansboro Road. Site improvements basically consist of street improvements, water, sewer, and drainage. Prior to extending the incentive grant to JOED, there are several documents the board will need to consider. We will do those after the public hearing. Those three items are a nonprofit agency reimbursable grant contract between the town of Swansboro, the county, and JOED. This contract basically describes the terms and conditions of the $250,000 from both the town and the county, and how it will be used for improvements like I just mentioned at the project site. Two, a memorandum of understanding between the town and Onslow County. This MOU describes how the town and county will place, each of us will place $250,000 into a dedicated account for the purpose of making the infrastructure improvements to the project, and the town will be the lead agency in dispersing those funds according to the grant agreement. And in the end, if there's any money left over in that pot of money, the $500,000, it'll be equally distributed back to the town and the county. We don't know. That was just, that's an estimate of what these improvements are going to make. The $1,813,500. You never know until you put it, design it, you put it out the bid, what kind of costs you actually incur. The last item is a resolution that essentially the board agrees to accept the grant and be responsible for administering the grant of $1,360,000 from the Department of Commerce in accordance with their grant agreements. So, Mayor, I'll just turn it over to you. You can conduct a public hearing, then we can come back and consider those three documents.
Okay. All right, so we're going to open a public hearing on the proposal to extend an economic development incentive grant to JOED. There's nobody signed up for comment on the public hearing. Is there anybody sitting in here that would like to comment? Okay. So now then we'll move to a motion to authorize the execution of the nonprofit agency reimbursable grant contract between Swansboro and Jacksonville JOED, and then also the motion to execute the memorandum of understanding with the town of Swansboro and the Onslow County Board of Commissioners.
Do you want to do the resolution with it also? Do you want,
Yeah,
you want to do
yeah.
that separate?
Motion to approve the resolution 2025R5. Do I have a motion on that?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that resolution passes, that motion to approve that passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, business non-consent, that would be Sonia, our finance director, on our monthly financial report.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I will be presenting your monthly financial report for April 30th, as of April 30th, 2025. And our first slide here is our two-year comparison for our general fund with encumbrances, and total excess of revenues over expenditures were $503,961. And here's your 2-year comparison of your actual of your general fund, and your total excess of revenues over expenditures were $630,830. And here's a summary of expenditures by department, and overall, the total expenditures are at 65.62% of budget, which is 17.68% less than the monthly projection of 83.3. We're really doing good. And here's a 2-year comparison of our stormwater enterprise fund with encumbrances, and our total excess of revenues over expenditures were $38,820. And this is our solid waste enterprise fund with encumbrances, and our total excess of revenues over expenditures were $52,093. And here's our summary of our town debt and their current loan balances. And here's our summary of town current cash and investment accounts and their current balances. And here is your grant update, all the outstanding grants that we have out there and the budget and their year-to-date expenditures. Any questions?
Anybody have questions for Sonia? Yep. So it
Good
looks
job.
like you guys have done a good job managing the budget again, it seems like. Thank you so much for that. All right, so moving right along now into business non-consent. No, we just did that, excuse me. Future agenda topics would be Elisa.
Good evening. Upcoming in June, on the 10th specifically, we will have a public hearing for 3 different items: extraterritorial jurisdiction expansion and a rezoning for 106 Belgrade Swansboro Road, along with the rezoning request for 1476 West Corbett Avenue. And we will also have our public hearing for adoption of our fiscal year 25-26 budget, tax rate, fee schedule, and salary schedule. Other items that will be considered later on in the month will be visitor center future discussion and the monthly financial report. Did the board have any other items they wish to see come forth in June or anything for July?
You got some, Joe?
Isn't there an empty spot on the planning board for the ETJ?
There is a vacant ETJ seat. We did receive an application today, so we could have board appointments in the future on that.
Cameron, anything you'd like to see on the future?
No, she's got it covered.
Go ahead. What?
So what's the fire contract? When are we going to put that on the agenda?
Yeah, that would be next month? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
He says it's possibly going to be on June 10th.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Jeff, you have anything you thinking of you'd like to see? Doug? Could we possibly get just a quick update on the Main Street dock grant status and all that? I mean, if that's possible?
From the June 10th meeting?
What's that?
We usually like that for the June 10th meeting.
I'm sorry.
Did you want that update at a June meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you can. If not, it's not. Just like to know where we're at with that, so we can try to get it. It's going to take a while to get it repaired, so it'd be nice to get it back open. And I think that's it. I had visitor center, but you already got that on there.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much. Yep. Okay, now we're going to move, there's no items moved from consent, so we'll move to the second section of public comment. And in this section, you have up to 5 minutes to discuss anything that's not on the agenda. So we have Clayton New signed up. If you'd come up and state your name and address, please. You're good? You changed your mind? All right. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to say? Okay, so now we'll move to manager comments.
Mayor, I can give you just a quick update where we are with the Main Street dock.
Oh, okay,
And the
good.
Riverview dock
Mhm.
grant applications. Friday, we got a response from Coastal Management telling us that our grant application for the Main Street dock repairs has been invited for a full application. There were pre-applications that we submitted for both of them. We've been invited to submit for the full application, for grant application for the Main Street dock, which is a good indication that you're likely to get funded. I think the entire pot of money for the beach access grants was about $4 million, so it was pretty competitive. Our second application for the Riverview boardwalk improvements did not get invited to make a full application, so we have to try again next year. But it was encouraging to get invited for the Main Street. Again, that's a 75% grant, 25% local match. So once we make the application, whether we're funded, I'll come back to you if we're funded, if the board wants to accept that grant.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anything else? You good? Okay. All right, so we'll move to board comments and start with Pat.
Probably driving you're crazy to hear the drip drips, but thank you anyway. Public, thank you for coming up for our meeting. Appreciate your presence and your support.
I'd like to start off with thanking Mr. Phillips for wanting to serve. No doubt in my mind he will do well with the Historic Commission. Thanks to the staff for everything you guys do and gals do on a daily basis for our town. Thank you very much. Thanks for the citizens for showing up. As you know, y'all have to come here and participate. That way, when you're mad at us, you can say, well, I told them so, which is better than not coming and saying anything at all and saying, I didn't have a chance to tell them. Well, thank you for showing up, and please keep coming back.
Thank you for everyone for showing up tonight. I'm going to read you something that the county commissioner sent us as far as they're beginning to notice that they have municipalities around here, and they took the time to write our mayor, Bill Justice, here a letter. So for the sake of putting this out there so everyone's aware of it, it says, Dear Mayor Justice, I am writing on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, that's the county commissioners, folks, to express our interest in exploring a strategic partnership with the town of Swansboro aimed at increasing operational efficiencies and improving services for our citizens. We understand that town staff has recently met with county personnel and expressed this desire. He goes on to say about leaders, but here's the bottom line. They desire to ensure previous staff conversations are supported by the two boards. In other words, they want to start collaborating with us, the municipality board, and then the county board. And they want to we want to further the collaboration so they can present an idea that will make our fire department more reliable, more sustainable, as well as more responsive. And that's got to be the underlying thing there in responsiveness. I 100% support this. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware. This will be entered in the record so you guys can look at it online and stuff, and I wanted to get it for the video as well. It's a big deal when the county is now trying to get our attention. And there's some people in this room I think we should recognize and make this happen. One of them is our town manager, John Barlow, as well as our Chief Randall. I want to thank you guys for getting their attention on this, and maybe we can start moving the other way on EMS response time and getting EMS back in the town as well. So that's about all I have for tonight, but thank you very much.
Okay.
As usual, I'd like to thank the staff and everybody that supports the board in getting these fine documents together on the budget and give me something to read for the next 2 weeks. Appreciate that, John, Sonia. Also want to point out that we had two presentations, or we had two items on the agenda tonight that, Mr. Crane, and we had the JOAD. Both of those items are pushing Swansboro forward, as we go along, and it's going to be, a brighter day for Swansboro, assured. You know, whether we get a swimming pool that you want, Matt, or we get a swimming pool from the YMCA who is courting us now. We had a nice meeting with Anna last week with the CEO of the Charlie Myers from the YMCA. He said potential 3 to 5 years. Don't hold me to that. But we're going to have what we're supposed to have. So we just got to keep moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Tamara?
To the staff, thank you for all you do. Everyone that came out tonight, thank you for being here. Mr. Crane, thank you for your presentation. See a pool in.
Look outside there for a minute.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you again too, Matt. I know I had a lot of questions, but it's just the way I work sometimes. I also would like, obviously, to thank our staff, but yesterday we had a really amazing Memorial Day service out at Bicentennial Park, and it was attended by quite a few people. It was very good. I'd like to thank Eric and his staff over at By the Bridge for providing refreshments, coffee, water, pastries, fruits, and things like that. Our Parks and Recreation Department worked with the Military Affairs Committee in presenting the service, and they did an outstanding job on it. So thank you, Anna, and Mary Pat, and the ones with Laura, all with the Military Affairs. Kelly. Public Works did a lot of work in helping get that set up as well. So thank you, Tank, and your crew for that, as well as the Fire and Police Department provided service out there as well, directing traffic. You should have seen our big flag flying again. It's awesome.
What about that fire department?
I know it's awesome to see that big flag flying off the ladder truck. So thank you again for that. It was just an amazing display of unity and remembrance for our veterans. Thank you guys for coming out. You know, our phone numbers are on our website. We've got cards out in the foyer, so if anybody wants to contact us, we're easily accessible. And if I don't answer the phone, I think you can pretty much ask anybody that's tried to contact me. I'm back with you within a couple of hours. It may be the next morning a couple of hours, but it'll be a couple of hours. So please feel free. So with that being said, I'd like to get a motion to close the session.
So move.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so motion passes. And thank you all for coming out.
I was letting Pat second that. I know.
You already texted him?
How many days on the clock?
That's